Hi everybody, welcome to J.C.A. We are Jeff,
Alex,
and Colton, and we're just three curious people that just want to know answers to things that there might not be answers to. And we're hoping that you too will have that same curiosity. So we're just going to have some real life conversation, guys. Today we're going to speak about Genesis, the first chapter of the Bible, one of the most interesting chapters of the Bible in my opinion. But before we get started, let me have you introduce yourself.
So I'm Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff, and how did we meet each other? Let's go with that. How we
met in our Bibles. We met in our Rooted group.
Yep.
That was where we first met.
Yep.
yeah,
We through our church, we have a group, and Colton and his wife Naeli, they were leaders. They were facilitators in our Rooted group, and that's how we first met. It was about a year ago.
Yeah.
Somewhere between.
that's how we all met. Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Jeff. He's a very curious-minded guy, which made him very perfect for this show. And then we have
Alex.
Okay, Alex.
And same thing. We met during our first Rooted group, and we've done two since over the course of a year. So
yeah,
that's been really nice. But I've gotten to know you and your wife. You've gotten to know me and my wife, and
that's right.
Jeff and his wife as well. So
yeah. And one thing I really liked about Alex is his real life experiences. Alex has had probably more heavier challenges than most, especially at your age already. And those challenges, I think, have developed your character. And I think that what you can share with us from those experiences and your feelings and all that is going to add value to our seeking the truth, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're fishing for, guys.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about Genesis today, okay? Genesis, in the beginning, that's about where we are here, in the beginning. For people who are non-believers, one thing we'll have to share is that, do we really know everything? And the answer is probably
no. We definitely don't know everything, and that's why we're fishing for the truth.
And your thoughts of how much do we know? How much does the Bible give us? And then how much is really going to have to go with faith at some point versus science? Honestly,
I think it's hard. It's hard because it's like saying you're trying to understand God and you're trying to understand, and I like to use this metaphor where we're putting God in the box and we limit him to what we think and what we feel. And that may not always be the case. So it's a very vast subject, okay. Which I know we're going to be breaking it down, especially today. But I think it's a very vast subject, and I would like to think that science and the Bible actually back each other. That's the way I believe it, and that's the way I think about it. So I'm really excited to get into this with you guys.
I think you and I think all three of us have that scientific mind that we want to see some support and evidence to our beliefs, okay? Why don't you just go ahead and read us the very first part of Genesis. Just get into what God called, or what Genesis calls day one. So that way we can have some contents, and then we can discuss what we feel what a day one really means or is, okay? So I know he wasn't fully prepared for this, but as you look, again, we're not trying to make just a religious podcast here, but we also invite atheists, non-believers, other religions, other thoughts, okay? Because what we share with you today is going to be our opinions.
Yeah.
So go ahead and read us the first line of...
Just to start, there's a little background here. I have who wrote it.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, let's find out who wrote Genesis.
So I have it written in here that says Christian and Jewish traditions say the author was Moses.
Okay.
If you agree with that, if we're just trying to find the truth.
Okay, so Moses supposedly wrote.
And this book covers from the beginning of time up through the 1400s BC.
Okay.
But just to give a little context.
All right, so what's the very first thing it says?
The very first thing.
It's one of the more famous lines. We see it and hear it in shows, movies.
Yeah. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
So right there, in the beginning, and this is considered what Moses or somebody related to as day one, right? Okay, so in the beginning, God created. All right.
Yeah.
It almost sounds a little bit like Big Bang Theory. Would you, well, let me ask you, Alex, you know a little bit about the Big Bang Theory.
Yes. I
In
do.
the beginning, and that again, do you correlate the two? Do you bring it together? Or are they totally opposite theories and
No,
nothing to do with each other?
I do correlate them. I truly believe that when it says in the beginning God created, and I think a little bit more down it says God said let there be light and there was light. I truly believe that God literally spoke the light into existence, and that's how the Big Bang happened. That's
Yeah,
me.
and I
'Cause if
agree
you
with
look
you
at-
because I
yeah.
feel this. God said, boom, let's start, and boom,
And
this
it just,
amazing
yeah.
universe starts taking creation from that moment when God said,
Let there be light.
"Let there be light." Okay, now continue a little bit more.
It says the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters.
Okay, so is he now more focused on talking about Earth at this stage?
So that's still before he said, "Let there be light." That's just in the very first. Yeah, so there was darkness that covered the deep waters.
Okay, and to me, the universe now has no mass yet.
Yeah.
It's just darkness.
Yeah.
Okay, and try to measure the universe. I know scientists have. Okay, and I heard something, and I could be way off, but I heard at the speed of light to get from one side of the universe to the other was just astronomically, like 61 billion light years apart, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Can't even fathom the size of something like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So let's see if any scientists can help us. Any numbers guys can
Yeah,
give us that.
but with Alex, as we're talking about,
Yeah.
in the beginning, God created. Is that the Big Bang to you?
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I believe if there was a Big Bang, as some people call it, it was God who created that. He's the one who had the powers, and he's the one that put it into existence.
So now God's providing the light from my interpretation.
Yeah.
So we don't have the sun yet. But you want to read a little bit more and let's see when we start to get mass. We got time, but where are we going to get mass?
So then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and called the darkness night.
Okay.
And evening passed and morning came, marking the first day.
Okay. So that's God's day. Because
That's-
you'll get a lot of arguments from atheists
Yeah.
that we have evidence to their scientific theory that Earth is older than what a day would have been if we would have started when Moses said we started. But again, if Earth wasn't yet created, we don't have Earth. What is a day? It's a rotation of the Earth moving where it realigns back to the same spot with the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's close to 24 hours. We know it's slightly off 24 hours, but close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't even have that yet. So we don't have an Earth Day, so to speak. And I don't hear God calling it an Earth Day. So this translation could be over millions of years, maybe billions of years, because what scientists have now measured as far as our life, when the Big Bang happened, 12.8, I think, almost 13 billion years ago. Okay, so that's far off from a day.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
know
that's-
there's a realistic versus symbolic, and I know that in the Bible it states some of the characters in the Bible, they lived for long more time than what we know now for our longevity, or how the oldest human nowadays can live to, right? Like there's some characters that live to be like 120, or so is that
The
realistic?
oldest was like 700-800 years old.
Yeah, I mean they were.
I believe.
So is that
And,
realistic or is that symbolic?
And,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Noah
a
were
question
very
that
old.
I can't answer.
And I don't think it's that important, because what I'm trying to draw from you guys a little bit is, we're talking a religious topic here, but I'm not atheist, but talk to me like if I am an atheist. Why would I believe what you're just saying, that there's a creator versus, hey guys, the atheist is looking at this scientifically saying no creator. So give me something to pull me in if I was that atheist.
Well, I mean, you also, to some sort of extent, even if you don't believe in God and you believe it was just like, Big Bang, how they said it happened, two pieces of matter hit each other and, now the universe is here. You have to, for a second, have to have like some sort of faith in that, right? And faith, for a lot of you, the guys that might not know, it's believing that it's, like you have faith in it, you believe that it happened, right? It's the same thing like we have faith in God, but you have to have some sort of faith that the universe just came to be. It's not, we don't know that for sure. We're here, but we don't know how it came into existence with 100% positivity, right? So you have to have faith, just like we have to have faith that God created the universe. So I would say that regardless, if you're an atheist, right? And again, I'm not putting anybody down. We open to everybody's ideas. If you're an atheist, you also have to have faith to see and know about that creation of the universe.
I think that atheists also, the way that they say faith is that they need proof.
Proof, yeah,
like
proof.
Numbers.
But
how can you prove that this happened besides just the word that we're reading in the Bible? That's the word of God, or the way that Moses translated.
Yeah, you can't with 100% certainty prove that's the way it actually happened.
Nobody was there
because it's hard.
Yeah. Now, can we get a reaction from the podcast? That can we tell them, hey, look, if you're an atheist, is there any evidence that would make you believe, or is there a way to get
I mean,
their
if you guys have
feedback?
any suggestions, just leave comments down below. Let us know what you guys think. We'll go over the comments as best as we can, and we'll try to answer some of them on the next episode.
Yeah, tell us what you think happened with how the earth was created, and what gives you the most confidence in knowing that.
But one important thing I would like to hear from them is that if we had proof of God, what proof would it take to convince you guys? Are you 100% no way, there's nothing that could move my opinion, or like, no, there's nothing right now that can move my opinion, you'll have to provide something more on a scientific level, then I'm open to moving. Because I think there's a big difference between a mind that's open to moving versus a mind that's just saying, you guys are cuckoo and this is not, you can't show me anything. And we're not going to, by luck, we would love to come up with something to show them. But again, as time continues to progress, I feel science and religion is coming more together. Yeah. I think it was a time when science pushed religion much further away. Mm-hmm. And I think in a lot of ways, rightfully. Okay, there was some practices that probably wouldn't even align to what we would feel comfortable with. And science just said, enough, mm-hmm. right? But now I've seen a difference as we're coming into, and as we look and explore Genesis, okay? I think that I think we could put some more alliance towards God in the Big Bang Theory, because to me, we had to have a beginning for us. God, maybe no time of beginning. Again, that's hard to even wrap around your minds. Yeah. Have you guys tried that? Have you wait a minute, somebody had to give God life, or are you more like God's always had life and we're just not? Let me hear your opinions. I don't want to lead the jury, so we'll start with Jeff.
I think the way that the Bible says is that God already existed, and he was looking at it from an outside perspective, not being inside the world that he's creating, from creating it from the inside out. He's looking at it from above and creating it.
But I'm gonna play the role of the atheist. Who created God? How do you comprehend, or how do you put God in a place in your mind that helps you understand that he was there to create the Big Bang Theory?
Just knowing that he is the creator. But then, that is a good question, because,
So that's hard for you to. Okay. What about you, Alex? How do you rest with it?
I think it's okay to not know, right? I think it's okay to just have faith, and that may sound a little, like too religious. And first, let me just say, if anybody is watching this from our church, just know that these are my views, not the views of the church that we go to. These are my views. But I feel like we just need to have faith in it, because I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to understand a living, breathing God, and to me, that's like, how am I ever gonna understand God? How am I gonna? I can't ever put myself in His place to understand Him fully, 100%. Right? I still get confused on the idea of the Trinity at times. Right?
Okay.
No.
Well, let's stay with Genesis.
Stay with this,
Genesis.
but staying with this,
But stay with God.
It's
Where do you put in your mind who created God, or how do you?
I
How do
just
you
think He's eternal.
File that into your head,
Yeah.
your mind.
He's eternal, and I believe that with all of my being, because I don't know if if God had made another universe before this or before that, and He's just been here for so long that he can do whatever He wants. He's God, right? So I believe He's eternal, wasn't made, and He's outside of our like space-time continuum. So our rules don't apply to Him, like our measurements for time, space, all like it does not apply to Him. He's 100% completely eternal. I don't know how to process the fact that He was made, or if like his true beginning. Maybe I'll ask Him one day. But
He couldn't have been made if He was the creator. So
it's hard to think that He was created.
That goes against what we believe too. I just don't. Yeah, how would an atheist be able to prove that there was somebody else that created God? Like, how would they?
Got to prove His existence first. It's
So I'm with you guys. I feel like our minds aren't developed to understand how something can always have been there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where the faith will come in. But as being a scientific mind, I can't help to try to want to process that.
to understand,
to get a better idea of, okay, great, He created us in His image. Good, that's easy. We created the computer, so we understand how creation could come about. But what we can't understand is where was He created, and how He was created. So that's just going to have to be left, unanswered at this moment. But I want to move on a little bit more now. So we're going to have light, we're going to have the earth, we're going to have day, and we're going to have night.
Yep.
Okay, but get us up to now the first person that He created.
Well, so after going back, after the darkness and after the evening passed and the morning came, marking the first day. That's where we just left off. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." So that's what came next. And then eventually God called the space sky. And
let me see. I think what He is.
I want to get to the part where
the
now
creation
earth
of
was
Adam.
created.
Yeah.
earth.
Shine down on the earth, so it has to be around here.
And then where He creates the first person. Because listen, not everybody's going to know. We take for granted that everybody knows who Adam is.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to explain, where did Adam come from? Because Adam doesn't have a mom.
So here He created the earth, but then for Adam,
was Adam put on earth as an adult? Was he, because he had a different pathway than the rest of us. And again, people who are not familiar with the Bible, this is our chance to kind of explain it a little bit. So
I am just trying to find exactly
Tell
where
us who Adam is and where he came from.
From what I know is God created the first man, and it was Adam.
It was Adam.
Yeah, and He developed a relationship with him eventually.
So Adam just went
Adam.
Poof, just poof. Adam.
Poof.
Adam's there.
And then he was in charge of tending to the garden, right?
Here, right here. Verse 15 is where
15. The Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend to watch over it. But the Lord God warned him, you may freely eat the fruit of every tree in the garden except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat its fruit, you are sure to die.
Okay, let's stay there. So there's no death yet. Tell us a little, but Alex, about the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you want me to?
Well, okay. Well, again, I'll play the role of the atheist. I don't know anything about the Bible. I have never heard about this garden. What am I envisioning? What is in your view?
Garden of Eden, when I think of that, I think of paradise. That's what God intended originally for us to live, a place for us to commune with Him and to connect with Him, was the Garden of Eden. So I'd say just kind of like
So different than the garden in my backyard?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't even envision the way it would look now, but considering that God put His full effort into making the earth at that time, and Eden, the Garden of Eden, I would imagine it was perfect. So I'd imagine there was a lot more, things that we don't have now. So.
Okay. So the farthest man can trace a human
paradise.
being,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember my
So-
history from high school. Hold on real quick,
Yeah.
Jeff. Is I think it was Lucy. I'm trying to remember the bones that they found
Yeah,
of
in,
a person
in Africa, right?
in Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, so my belief now as a Christian is the Garden of Eden must have been somewhere in Africa, because I think we have strong enough evidence how man started to disperse among the earth, and it was first centered somewhere in Africa. And it makes sense to me, because we know where Israel is, we know where Jesus walked. It was more populated there than a lot of the other parts of the earth, because it took us a while to scatter it among the earth. But so the Garden of Eden, you give me a little bit of description. I want to hear your description. What's your view of the Garden of Eden? Don't read it, but give me what in your head. What do you see when I ask you, what does the Garden of Eden look like?
It's like a tropical paradise. kinda
Tropical.
Like yeah, just
Okay.
knowing that it's near the equator, where that's where wild, like,
It'd be warm,
yeah, it'd be warm.
because we know Adam was not dressed.
Yeah.
Not right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd be melting in the sun over in Africa. Yeah. I wonder, but there must have been a lot of shade too, and a lot of green.
You think there were mosquitoes?
In Jurassic Park, remember how they showed the mosquito at ate the
You think there were insects that would bite them, and spiders and stuff?
I don't think that's paradise, to be honest. I would not be.
But God gave him, from the Bible tells us, right? Adam named everything, every creature, right?
Yeah.
Not just animals, but critters. So we have to imagine there must have been mosquitoes, and
Yeah.
maybe they didn't have yet. He hasn't picked the fruit yet, or sorry, Eve hasn't picked the fruit yet. So perhaps everything's just like so sinless and so perfect that you don't have to worry about that. But so he makes Adam, okay?
So it actually says, then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground.
So from the dust of the
So it's
ground.
formed from the
So we
dust of
come
the ground.
from the ground and we return to the ground. Because
Yeah,
when
that's
we die, what do? You bury, right?
Decompose.
We decompose, so
As I say,
return to earth.
Matter doesn't cease to exist. It just, right?
So energy.
Energy,
Energy
yeah.
just moves from one place to another.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have Adam from the dust.
He breathed the man. He breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils, and the
Okay.
man became a living person.
Okay. So this is a very unusual birth,
Yeah,
as we know
it's
it.
not typical.
Yeah.
It's
So it
something
sounds like he
that's
came
never
in as. Would you agree as an adult, Alex?
Yeah.
Not a
I
child.
would,
Did he
I would
grow? Did he
imagine
change
so.
shape?
Yeah.
Did he have a beard immediately?
Well, you just have to remember though, at this time, the timing could have been different, because this is
Yeah.
before sin entered the world. So it could have been, it could have been on God's time. It could have, like, him a day is what in the Bible it says
Yeah,
a
that's what we
1,000
just
years
talked about.
for
Yeah.
us. Yeah. So it's like, what if he just grew, and and during that time he was growing, and we just don't
Yeah,
know.
like a minute of our time could have been like 10 years,
Wow.
100. You never even know.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's decaying and aging, becoming older, or having back issues.
Yeah, that would be
There's no
considered
doctors
sin.
at this time, so
No, that's not
he's,
sin, it's
he's
just,
feeling pretty good.
yeah,
Sounds like.
aging.
Yeah. Yeah, they need Botox, right? Okay, so things were okay for a while, but what happened? God is, I'm going to come back again a little bit on the atheist side. Like, I don't believe that you would have a multi-complex, molecules as a human being. The atheists, like more on a scientific level, are going to say, wait a minute, we had simple cells, and that developed first, and then there had to be, creation of probably in the ocean of life that finally did come out. But this is now a little bit, is it contradicting, or is it just if Moses wrote this, maybe Moses didn't have all the details. Maybe God said it's not important to talk about the very first molecule that lived, that was alive, or
Yeah.
Well, weren't the sea animals created before Adam? And weren't
that's
all the
Science will
animals
tell you,
created
yeah. Science is going to
beforehand?
say man came a lot further down the
No,
road.
but in the
you're gonna have
Bible, doesn't
dinosaurs.
it? Yeah,
Single-celled organism.
they were
Single
created
cell organ-
beforehand. Yeah.
Before complex became a
Yeah.
So what if between that time it was a long time and they?
That's what I feel.
You know?
Again, it's hard to argue because I don't have. You got the science side, you got the religious side,
Yeah.
and I don't know both very well. But what I do know from the scientific side, before man, they were dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And I think the Bible even mentions about dinosaurs. Now, were they here at the same time, or did they evolve and then the asteroid hit the Earth? They were wiped out, and they gave a chance for man to come. And is that God's day 2, day 3, day 4?
Yeah.
You know?
See, but then we also have to remember that, like going on into the book of Genesis, there's like a lot of people just come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, well, where did these people come
I
from?
was wondering.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking about that. Did Eve have like 40 kids who had 40 kids?
Yeah.
Who had 40 kids? Because,
It's like-
and did they do it like rabbits? Was it just popping them out one after the next?
Adam came from the ground.
Yeah.
Right? He was formed from the ground.
Yeah.
So then they just, as soon as Eve was there, then they just started.
But regardless whether you take it from the religious side,
Yeah.
and Eve gave birth to more, or God created more out of the dust, or you take it from a scientific side. A scientific side, if we were just formed, through, like I said, we start getting more complex organisms.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that there was only a first creature? All of a sudden, was the man the first creature that that developed from apes, or was it the woman? And then how did they continue to breed?
Yeah.
So science got holes in it too, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. As much as again, I'm not picking on atheists. I don't want you to think I am. I'm trying to understand it, because I'm open to hear how your thoughts would coincide with our thoughts. How do we align, and how do we do not align? That's why it'd be interesting if there's anybody out there that doesn't believe that would like to be on our show. Please, what would they have to hit? The
Subscribe, just comment.
subscribe.
I'll read it.
Comment, say you want to join.
Alex
Yeah.
is IT. I know how to
He's our
turn the
media
phone
guy.
on, but then when it comes to that, I'm not sure all the buttons that need to be pushed.
Social media.
But I would love to have somebody with a different perspective that would be willing to join the show. We have room. We can put more chairs out here,
Yeah.
and I'd be glad to have other religions too. It's not just atheists, but atheists are the ones I think that interest us the most, because here we are, believers. What's stopping you from believing? We want to align with you guys. So again,
what's-
other religions too.
Or if there's other religions like Buddhism or something, like
Yeah.
what makes you think, like what has you thinking that that's the way, or what's your connection or Judaism would still be connected right here, because not until
Was Adam Jewish?
Well, I was gonna say, didn't you grow into
I did.
at first, right? So
Yeah,
how did you guys look at it, like in that perspective?
So I went
from
to Hebrew
Judaism?
school for 5 years, but I was really young, and I don't remember necessarily how we were taught from the book of Genesis. That's a good question, and I just
So we have the Bible as Christians. What did Jews book? What the Jews book
they come
called?
from they're all about the Old Testament,
So what is their book called?
the Torah.
The Torah. The
Yeah,
Torah
I
is
believe
like
it's the
what we call the Bible. Just
Yeah.
the Bible has more chapters, obviously.
Yeah, because the Bible has Old Testament and New Testament. I believe the
Yeah,
Torah
the Torah is
is
just the Old Testament.
Torah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And and I think the Torah ends where Jesus starts, because the Jews don't believe that Jesus was. They knew he existed, but he was just.
And that's
carpenter.
a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Topic,
so let's
yeah.
stay
Excited for
that's
that
good. So we got Adam, and something now has to happen, and God's going to create Eve. Can one of you guys fill me in on
Yeah, you want to go?
after Adam? And Adam's doing great,
Uh-huh.
but why is God not finished yet with creation?
We were lonely.
Lonely?
He's, he didn't want us to be lonely. I don't know word for word, but I know it's because God didn't want us to be lonely. So he literally took
I think I found it.
a rib. Yeah.
So it says he gave names to all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, and all the wild animals, but still there was no helper just right for him. And then, so the Lord God caused man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord took out one of the man's ribs.
Okay.
And closed up the opening. The Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. So the man was created from the ground, but the woman was created from the rib of the man while he was sleeping.
So what I find interesting is that's really part of you. I mean, Eve is part of Adam. She wasn't brought up by dust like him.
Yeah.
And when we get married, what do they always tell us when we marry a woman?
Become one.
Become one.
Or one.
I think that's where I start to see it to connect.
Yeah.
So God saw Adam's loneliness.
Yeah, he needed a helper.
He needed a helper.
Somebody to help him.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
lonely.
someone
Yeah.
It could be coming from
To probably
Yeah.
cook better than he probably cooked, right? We don't know if fire's been discovered yet here, right? I mean, so.
So yeah, it is not good for the man to be alone. That's then the Lord God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." So God knew that it's not good for. He didn't create us to be the man to be by himself. So that's when he formed from the ground all the wild animals and the birds of the sky.
Okay, so before you go that far, let's just stay with what you first said. It's not good to be alone. I find this interesting. Cultures throughout the world have marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a believer in the Bible like we are, the Torah, the Quran, they join man with woman. Now, if we were never had any religious background and we were just accidentally came to earth, right? How we got created. I'm just looking at their view. Why do we so much align on marriage?
Yeah, and it's with a man and a woman.
Like why it's like such a core value.
Yeah.
Because it's like I got married before I was even considered myself a Christian, right? And like to me it's not, because I don't like that religious label, right? And I know that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's a religion, but it's like my relationship with God, right? And I feel that it's like such a internal thing to us. Like where do we get our moral compass, right? Like we don't know those things, right? It's an internal feeling. And like if it were up to me, if I was single, I'd probably just be sad all day. I'd just be sitting in my bed playing video games and back to the way I was drinking and stuff, right? Like it's just you feel that part that's missing. You truly do. Like you long for that companionship, which is like what God said, we would be lonely without that other half.
But not other animals, not other creatures.
Yeah.
There's no long-term loyalty. Now, I know birds can align. There's certain birds that might align with a partner for long periods of time. If anybody knows if it's for life, I don't think so.
Ducks common, like they choose one mate or something.
I was going to say penguins. I thought it was
Penguins?
Now, this is about I know penguins a little bit better.
Really?
Penguins will align for one season.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you didn't hook up the right woman,
So they jump around.
Yeah, you can go, hey, next season I'm going to get so-and-so. It's got to be really weird.
How many seasons do they live? How many seasons are
That's a good
penguins
question.
alive?
It's a rough, at least in the South Pole.
Yeah.
It's a rough life for them.
Yeah.
There's very few good times that they will be able to just feel like, hey, we're not in danger. But I think 9-10 months out of the year, it's a fight against nature to live. So I think it's a very short life they have. But the interesting thing is that they do switch partners every year, every season, which is weird. That wouldn't work for humans too.
I will never be able to. It's like relearning everything about that.
That would be a mess. Think about that.
If my wife is watching this, don't.
I'm not. You're not thinking about becoming a penguin. Yeah. Okay, so we got Adam. We got Eve. Okay. Now everything's perfect until. Now people are not, again, hopefully we're watching, don't know anything about what's going to happen. Who wants to say what happens next now? Because life is beautiful right now, right? They're running around. Love is there. They're naked. No one cares. No one's getting hurt. No doctor checkups, nothing, right? You don't even need lawyers back then, okay? So what's going to happen next in Genesis, guys?
The woman comes in, and then Eve, and she bites the apple.
But we gotta go back. What happens before she bites that? Why did she get? First of all, it's not even an apple. We relate it to an apple. It's easy to
it's a
call it
fig.
an apple.
Well, it's a fruit. He says the fruit.
We know it's a fruit. That's the best we got from Moses. But why did she go touch this? And it's not just any fruit. It's coming from what plant?
From a tree.
Which tree?
The tree of knowledge.
The tree of knowledge, which is kind of the center, if I remember, of paradise there.
But so before that happens, it says now the man and his wife. Wait, so it didn't say
They didn't have kids yet.
Yeah, it just said the man and his wife. So they automatically.
So
she was automatically became his wife without.
Well, who else was he going to choose from, Jeff? Did he go to the Bachelor and they had 20 different Eves around there?
How'd they know what marriage was? Who married them?
Yeah,
God.
God.
When
he rips out a rib from you, you want to get it back.
I'm sorry, but if somebody pulls a rib out of me, like
that's the woman for me.
Yeah, that's the woman.
Yeah. Okay, so it says now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame.
Okay, wait. You got it. You're jumping ahead. So right now, you're right. They're naked and they feel no shame, because they have no reason to feel shame until what event? I want you to.
Yeah, so
people are not familiar with the events.
That's before.
Okay. Good.
The fruit. Then it goes to the serpent was the shrewdest of all the wild. So they introduced the serpent at this point.
The serpent. And what's the serpent's image in our mind?
Snake.
It's like a snake. That's what we think. Okay. And even today, most humans do not like snakes.
I love snakes. Yeah, I understand.
Most
I've actually had a couple of snakes.
Boa constrictor.
So when we went hiking that day, if we would have came across a rattlesnake, you would have played with it? I mean, not touch it, but would you have put a stick and rattle its cage a little bit?
Well, but then,
my instinct is to just, hey, I got my stick ready to fight back if this thing wants to attack.
Well, we have to remember, and I think we had this conversation before when we were talking about the animals and how you believe that they talked, right? And I know that's a whole different topic, but when you come down to it, there must have been this harmony between mankind, God, all the life on Earth, right? Or within the Garden of Eden. There had to have been some sort of harmony. So a talking snake may have been normal, and it didn't throw him off, and they were okay with that. They were okay with snakes at the time, right? Because I know typically people associate the serpent with the devil, right, or with Satan. So I know in this context it's Satan, but my point is there's that harmony. So to him it was probably normal. It was probably normal to see a talking snake. I mean, we don't know that.
I'm okay with that.
If Adam was in charge of naming all the creatures, he had to have a relationship with it.
with the snake.
This is a bear, and it's coming at me. How would he know that it's not going to eat him? There must have been
some sort of
a trust.
Well, I think God gave power for Adam to have, not only to name them, but he also had control.
Yeah.
What does control mean? I want to hear what you guys think too. How do you control a bear or a lion and make sure it doesn't eat you? But you got to know from how far away you know. All right, I'm calling that a lion.
But before that fruit was picked, Earth is different.
Yeah. So it had no
completely
sin,
no hunger, no cold, no sickness. There is nothing bad yet that is going to blow into the atmosphere here. So what we automatically instinct is bear bad could kill us.
Yeah, or you'd be eaten. So there must
you don't feel that way with a puppy.
Yeah.
No, not
so
at all.
You imagine his process and how he processed his mind. A bear would have been like we would process a puppy at this stage. Yeah, cute. It's okay to be around. We can even talk, as you guys mentioned.
So they had to have a.
But the serpent, for some reason, did it get possessed? Did Lucifer come into its physical state and take over, or was it always Lucifer roaming around and they just haven't met this serpent yet? It doesn't really talk about it. But give me your version of what you think happened. I mean, you're now going to be Eve. You're roaming around, and this critter comes and talks to you.
Well, I mean, and I know this is not in Genesis specifically, or even within what we know as the Bible. Look, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of it, but the Book of Enoch, if you guys read into it, it gives a little bit more of a detail about what happened with the fall of the angels and I'm not exactly where it is. I'd have to find it, but I know God tells Satan that he's going to basically just roam the ends of the earth to and fro, right? So I know at this point he's wandering the earth and he's going to and fro, right? So he's just wandering all around the earth. So what's stopping him from going and possessing to get back at God and ruining God's perfect creation? Because the Bible literally says we're made in His image. So He hates us. He hates us and He wants us to fall because He fell. So I think that's probably what happened. He possessed the serpent.
So he's in the form of the serpent. He comes across Eve. I don't know if you ever maybe tried to talk to Adam. Adam's like, I'm looking at Eve, man. She's hot. I want to be around my wife. Leave me alone, man. Something like that. But Eve, for some reason, had engaged with the serpent.
Yeah.
And the serpent now stirs up her mind. What's the serpent going to start to say to her, Jeff? What's the conversation, or what's your interpretation of the conversation? Okay, what he's doing. What's your interpretation of the conversation
between the serpent and Eve?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I had said, he wants us to fall the way that he did. So I think to him, like within that conversation, he's trying to convince her. It's okay. Yeah. God doesn't know what He's talking about. You can eat it. You want to be just like Him. All right.
You want to see. Do you want to see it and feel it? It's not dangerous. It's actually good. Yeah. He didn't say anything about being bad, if I remember. Right? The serpent is saying, "This is good for you."
So one day He asked the woman. This is talking about the serpent. Did God really say you must not eat the fruit from any of the trees in the garden? Of course, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, the woman replied. It's only the fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden that we are not allowed to eat. God said you must not eat it or even touch it. If you do, you will die. And then the serpent replied, you won't die. God knows that your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God, knowing both good and evil. That's the way He started tempting Eve.
Okay.
And the woman, it says the woman was convinced. She saw that the tree was beautiful and its fruit looked delicious, and she wanted the wisdom it would give her. So she took some of the fruit and ate it, just like that.
So let's just pause for a minute, and let me be the atheist here. Why would God put that tree in the Garden of Eden? Why was it needed where it was placed? Why would you put temptation near? Like, if you wouldn't put knives near your kids right now, would you?
No.
And tell them, hey, look, don't touch those knives. Those knives can kill you.
There are knives in the kitchen, and the kids are able to roam anywhere in the house unless you have safeguards, right? So then by putting a child lock on your
why not a child lock on the tree?
Or like an invisible realm that you couldn't access or get into. Why wouldn't you do that? But that, I think He's showing how man is tempted. Like kids want to stick their fingers in sockets, right? They get curious.
Yeah,
I tell them no, or they go to fire and they want to touch the fire. They're intrigued by a campfire going on.
But you, as a parent, why not put a wall, barrier, a protection, a safety net?
So you can only do so much, right? You can't watch your kid 24/7. You try your best, but then explaining it to them, like my daughter, just talking to her. Depending on the situation, I have a daughter and a stepson, and I'm sure my wife had different ways to talk, and you guys have different ways to explain to your kids. Back then, depending on their age, right? Like how can they absorb this information? A lot of times they get hurt, and that's how they learn. They touch the stove that's hot. No matter how many times you say it's hot, don't touch it, they still want to go for it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they touch it, that's when they realize when that pain. That's the best way that they learn from it. Or walking outside without your shoes, they scrape or something happens, and you can give so many different examples. With the knives, maybe with scissors they're playing with, you try to teach them, don't carry the scissors like that, and you hopefully that.
But do you feel God thought it was safe putting it where it was put? Do you think?
No, He knew it. God always knows what He's doing, right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's nothing that He doesn't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I would say free will. That's why He put it there, free will.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is All right, for just an example, right? But let's say I want you to love me, right? I want you to show me that connection, right? So I think what God was trying to do is like, I want them to choose me. I want them to truly choose me and to come to me willingly, not because I'm God and I can make them come to me, because he can do that if he wanted to, right? He made the angels. The angels were perfect, and they still decided to rebel against him. Right? So he wanted us to choose him. That's what it's all about. That's what I think it's all about. He wanted us to choose him. Yeah, and I mean, going back to what we were.
So if someone doesn't understand free will, let's say, what's free will? How would you, in your mind, tell me
Can we pause real quick? I want to. I need some water.
Go. You step out. We're gonna keep talking.
Go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
You guys keep talking.
Yeah.
Right, you want the water?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's right there.
Got it. I think, this is going back to the conversation that we had about connection, right? I truly believe that God wanted a connection, and he wanted a true love type of connection, right?
Okay.
So true to the point where he would die for us. And because you're telling me that somebody, especially God, is going to humble himself and die for a lot of people that, you know, that we're not even born yet to that fact, right? Not even born yet. And to me, that it just seems like he just loves us so much. He loves his creation so much. He wants us to choose him. So I think that's why he put that tree there. And going back to answer your question about free will, I know a lot of you guys know what free will is, but it's essentially like if God tells me you can do whatever, like, you know, I set these parameters, but you can do whatever you want. I have the choice to love who I want to love. I have the choice to do whatever it is I want. It doesn't mean it's the right choice.
So
right?
he gave
but
us,
he had the free will to do it.
He gave us a mind of our own, so we're not robotic.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's important because
for love? Is that what you're getting at? I'm guessing that's
again,
that's what I would say for love, because I mean, if he just told us who to love, there's no exactly.
We don't give computers free will. We give them programs. They must complete their cycle of the programs, however we put it and process it. You being IT could probably understand that a lot better than I can. But we're different than computers. He created us in his image, and he gave us free will.
Yeah.
And sometimes that free will isn't used properly, and it could be really a distraction. I mean, we must have caused a real muck. God must have went like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to untie a lot of knots now because of this free will, you know, as we know. So let's continue with the story. We now understand free will. We understand what we believe, why the tree of knowledge is in harm's way, I'll say it right now. And we know that the serpent tempted Eve. So what happens now? Eve says, okay, sounds good. What does she do?
She bites the fruit.
She picks it, she bites it, and she goes, not so bad. Now what's really interesting is okay, I don't know enough about this. Is Adam close by when she picked it? Did she tell him first that she was going to pick it, or she just went and picked it and said, hey, look what I got?
She just went and picked it, I believe, right? Because then he comes in, he's like, well, what did you... she gives him the fruit, and then he eats it, and then she tells him where she got it from.
Well, wait a minute. Like, if he didn't know where that fruit came from, did he disobey God?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty...
Wait.
If all
of a sudden...
I think...
your wife comes and gives you a piece of, and she's given you fruit before, but you know her so well, you don't even question where it comes from. So if you didn't know where it came from, you bit into it, did you break God's laws?
It just says that she took some fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband.
To her husband, yeah.
Who was with her.
So then he had to witness that she picked it from the tree. They must have had either the conversation ahead of time.
It says if he was with her.
Keep going after that, because I want to see what's Adam's reaction
so
after.
She took some fruit and ate it. Then she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it too. At that moment, their eyes were opened, and they suddenly felt shame at their nakedness.
So he knew then.
Right
Then
away.
he knew what they were doing.
Because right when he bit it, their eyes were open.
Okay, so it's a twosome here. They're
Yeah.
both guilty of the crime.
And then right away they sowed
How
fig leaves.
quickly does it happen that the reaction kicks in? Did they get to digest the fruit?
it says
Is
right
anything
away.
how
It
it
happens
tasted?
right away.
Was it better
It
than
says
the other fruit?
instantaneously.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
Maybe like a moment after, but it says at that moment their eyes opened. Their eyes were open. As soon
So
as
they
they bit
saw life different. It's this wall of.
it, and then they sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves.
It's been
So
torn
I'm
down.
assuming then Adam was with Eve when they
Sounds
had
like
that
it.
conversation with the serpent then,
Yeah.
right? He must have been there and gotten
Sounds
convinced
like it.
too.
Yeah.
Too bad. It would have been the one moment he should have stayed home and watched the game, right?
For real.
Hang on. The Bulls are playing the.
The Dodgers are playing.
No, I'm thinking two animals that are.
Okay.
Right, but the Broncos are playing the
Bulls.
not the Bulls.
Yeah,
the,
that's different.
The,
That's
Lions.
football
The
versus-
Lions. Yeah, there you go.
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we're playing the Chicago Bears, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I gotta watch the Bears and Lions go at it. But you go off and do your thing. Go shopping. I'll see you. And then
Do you guys think he should have stayed home?
What would life would have been like if we weren't participants and it would have just been women? Not picking on any women. I'm just one. And it could be the opposite too. What happens if Adam was the only one and the woman didn't do it?
That's
What?
good
How
question.
would God have been? Would everybody be
So
punished?
if Adam came first and he was the leader, he was the first man.
He stayed away from it
He
until
stayed
he.
away.
Yeah.
So he was
But,
that.
but we don't know if he was tempted yet. We
Well,
don't
it
know.
doesn't- As we read, it didn't show.
Did the serpent show up while he was alone off with the animals?
I could be, but
Okay.
in here it doesn't.
So I'm getting off track a little bit. So now they bit it. Now they see life differently. What's their reaction? What's happening?
So they knew they were naked,
Yeah.
Their eyes are open.
and they sewed the fig leaves together to cover
Before they
themselves.
did that, they ran off. They hid from God.
No, it
Right?
just says at that moment their eyes were open, and then they suddenly felt shame from their nakedness, and then they sewed the fig leaves together.
Together? It's like, hey, let me help you sew this because I
Yeah,
see
they-
that you look different than me.
They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When the cool evening breezes were blowing, the man and his wife heard the Lord walking about in the garden.
Aren't they hiding at this time?
So they hid.
They hid. Okay.
So they hid from the Lord God among the trees. So they heard him walking, and then they hid among the trees. Then the Lord called to the man, "Where are you?" He replied, "I heard you walking in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked." That's
Amazing.
the very first.
Now, have your kids ever ran from you after they did something bad?
being
All the
naked,
time.
no.
All
All
the
the
time.
time,
So
yeah.
they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We,
and
us
you too?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like our first instincts is feeling shame and guilt when you do something wrong.
Yeah.
Isn't that
depending
weird
on-
as an instinct? If we're just, again, a question I have for atheists. If we're just accidentally made, why do we have the guilt? Where's the guilt coming from?
And that's where we know from our perspectives, we're born sinners, right? So
Well, now.
we know
Now,
So
yeah.
we are born sinners. That's why instinctively we know sin. And we
Yeah, but I
feel
get it.
I
But
don't-
let's play again. I'm the atheist now, or you're the atheist, okay? And I'm going to say to you guys, if we're just complex organisms, why do we run when we're guilty?
Yeah. What's
Where does it come
consciously-
from?
yeah.
Where is it coming
Yeah.
from?
So like you can say that I just learned it from my parents saying not to do that, or an adult teaching me. But when you're an infant, or okay, so it has to be past infancy, like when you're a toddler, when you start understanding what no means. That's how you learn, and then if you
But if you disobey your parents, you saying your kids will run and hide or try to cover it up.
I guess it depends if they get in trouble for it. Like,
Yeah.
So
Oh.
you catch your kid eating chocolate.
My kids are bold. they'll they'll look at me in the eye and tell me they messed up. No.
Yeah. So then
Coming back, if we're
But,
getting
no,
just,
punished. Getting
yeah.
punished makes the kid think that
we're
they're
just
No, yeah.
molecules
But-
and we're just processing life. And
But I
we're
think
just
what he
energy
means
that's
is,
moving
yeah.
through. What is the reason to feel guilt? Where did that come
Yeah, like where
from?
did it come from? Yeah.
And why did almost every society, I don't know a society that exists that doesn't have laws,
Yeah.
okay? Hundreds of countries, I think, right, we're up to. And I would bet each and every one of them has a certain standard that you have to obey by to live in that country.
Some are crazy, way
Some are
different.
different. Yeah, I'm not
how would
knocking
they
anybody. I'm not knocking, but I'm just saying this commonality.
So it's a cultural.
How does that happen if we're just created out of nothing?
Yeah.
If there's no
Well,
God, how does that form?
I think it goes back to our conversation about free will, right? Because it's like, how do we use our free will, right? If
Why
there's
do we
no
even get free
now
will?
now that we know that evil exists, right? And first, for if you guys don't know, holy means set apart. So when you say that God's holy, He's set apart from us. So He knows good and bad. He just obviously doesn't participate in the evil, right? But He's set apart. He's holy. So I think from us, now that we have the same knowledge, like the serpent said, the same knowledge that God has, right? We know good and evil now, but we're not perfect to separate ourselves like God is, right? We can't separate ourselves from that evil. So I think that that's why society has those rules, and because it's just like, if we don't have those laws, just going to be anarchy, chaos.
So
There's not.
do you think there'll be laws? Do you think there'll be guilt? Would you think there'll be any of this if there was no God?
Yeah, because there's some cultures that, like, let's say cannibalism, or so if they're eating their neighbor or something, or like, and they didn't know that our laws don't allow that, they would be like, what are you talking about, while they're practicing cannibalism.
So I'm going to remove God. Does this now
Yeah, I'm
all
saying
three
without.
be atheist?
Yeah, I'm saying without.
So why do we have rules and laws?
Structure.
Okay.
Same thing. Chaos. If there's no laws,
But you're still, again, that we have feelings.
Yeah.
Why would we even have feelings if there was no God? Okay. You see,
Yeah.
you see, computers don't have feelings. You get a bunch of robots in the room.
Yeah.
They don't care. Do
No.
they need rules and laws? Well, what we have programmed those robots to do, those are the rules, I guess. I don't know if there will be laws. But without emotion, would one care if another one banged into each other? Would they even say, excuse me? You know?
You mean like having that emotional intelligence, right? Because it's like, if two flies were to hate each other, I'm pretty sure it's just like whatever, right? But if we run into each other and be like, dude, like,
Yeah,
that hurt.
hey, ow,
like, what are you,
that hurt.
like, what?
What are you doing?
Yeah, so, I mean, it differs.
Without God, do you have
It's-
that? Do you think you have that? You still think that would have developed if there was no God? We were just accidentally formed from lightning bolt hitting the water, and
It's hard. I mean,
You know?
it's hard to think that this comes from stardust, you know? It's hard to think that you're beyond your physical body, like your spirit, your soul, it comes, like, where does that come from, you know? And I think it's been, if I'm not mistaken, it's been documented, like, when you die, you have, what's like 7 minutes of brain activity, something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you guys can correct me.
Yeah, and I
But
want that to be one of our topics.
No, yeah, we will get into that for sure.
That is going to
We
be a
need to.
huge topic. I want to cover just Genesis
And
today.
there's so much
But-
more topics in Genesis that we can talk about, like.
But it's almost as if like your soul leaves your body, your spirit leaves your
Yeah.
body after that brain activity
But
shuts
save
off.
that
There's
one.
nothing there.
We have now
Yeah.
guilt. We have
Well-
God now establishing punishment, not just for them, but this punishment is going to be for all humans. Can you tell me the punishment for man and the punishment for women?
For a woman, I know it. For women, I know it was bearing. So they're gonna have more pain when they bear children.
Give birth, yes.
And for men, it's working, right? So like basically working until like to provide and.
Yeah, no longer
Uh,
sitting on your butt on the lounge chair.
Yeah,
Adam's
I know.
gonna
I need to
up
get out of
and
here.
He's gonna
Those
sweat.
are punishment.
But
You're saying
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then why, if we're created in God's image, we learn that God's a hard worker.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
work-
it wasn't that
so
Adam
then where
wasn't
does-
working. He didn't have to. It wasn't. I don't think.
But he didn't have
felt
to work for
pain.
food. He didn't have to work to survive to
But
eat.
I don't think he had
didn't
tiredness. He don't think he
Yeah.
had
That-
pain.
So that
Why
was
he did
created
it.
as a
He just worked. Yeah. He said that's
But
it.
you
It's
got to
not
remember,
coming
he
easy
felt shame,
anymore.
right? They say he felt shame. So then,
But then
so
what
now,
about- so you said food just appeared to him?
He had all
No,
the
no,
food.
no, no, no,
He
but-
still has the food, but
Yeah.
now he has to care for it. It's just not going to plant itself anymore. God's
Okay.
not going
But
to take care of
so
it.
some people can see as I have to go pick fruit to eat. That could be labor intensive.
Well,
You never get tired.
think about it this way, though, right?
different.
Like, there's, if I'm in paradise, I would envision me picking fruit, picking food, whatever, you know, like that's fine. but then having to work to get money to pay for that, right? To have some sort of like, not reward, but like in order to eat, right? Like we have to work to feed our kids, and we have to do this to feed our kids and to make sure they're clothed and whatever, right? I think what he means is now we feel it, right? Because now it's like
limitations.
I used to have a lot of anxiety when I was in the military, right? A lot of like depending on the work that I was doing, right? But or like shame or whatever it might be, right? Those feelings that rush into you, right? They didn't have that before. I think that's what you're trying to say, right?
Well, physical limitations
right?
now.
Yeah, that too. Before the aging.
Yeah, but then they slept, right? So it doesn't. If they slept natural, that means that they didn't sleep at all. Because a physical limitation.
I don't know. Does Genesis mention anything about sleep? Anybody know?
Because if a physical limitation is that you get tired and you need rest. How does that? You know, I don't know.
But even God rested, if we remember.
So then that is a physical limitation that we have, though. We can't keep going without rest.
I think it was just more. I mean, it could have been just more balanced, but I don't know about you guys. And again, we're getting to this topic next time, which I'm really excited about. But like NDEs, from what I've heard, near-death experiences. I've heard that like a lot of people when they experience the afterlife in heaven, there's like. Everybody there is like the same age. They're like in their 30s is like from what people would seem. So to me, what I'm thinking is that God probably knows that's the prime age or like the prime time to like, you know,
just
physical
there,
and
you're so lucky.
You know, so it's like
it's
almost
everything's functioning really well right now.
28.
28.
He's at his prime if he was playing sports or.
I don't feel like it. 8 years in the military. when he's a shot.
But then again, it's depending on how long you live, because if you live long, like right, like or is prime.
Where I was getting with that was that Adam.
With Genesis.
Adam was probably at that prime age, and he just wasn't aging past that yet until the fruit was there. That's what I think. And then once that, obviously the knowledge, death
40,
came in.
He's turning 50.
Started aging. Now he's turning.
Getting harder.
So I think that's where that came in, and the physical limitations, and like you know. So I think
I think we've covered what I find was the more fascinating part of Genesis, the one that I wanted to share with our audience. It does go further. They have kids, and they have more problems. And
there's a lot of family quarrels and.
Correct. Things that are even with us today. They were the first to experience it, but many experience it now. But I think this is a great beginning. Okay. Which is why I wanted to launch with Genesis, because I think it's fitting for us as we're coming together to fishing for the truth. But I think I want to end on that note. If you have anything more you either two would like to add before I conclude.
Not at this point, but I would love to go deeper and share more topics, and I want to hear what our audience thinks.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, maybe we can have a like a little.
We can read some comments
next time and answer some questions. I think that would be awesome.
Good. So I'm Colton. We have Jeff. We have Alex. And we have you, and we invite you to join us weekly as we fish for the truth.
Thanks for watching.
Fishing for the truth. Oh, am I the only one?
No.
Okay. All right. How many?
Oh,